Okay, so let's go ahead and create a pause menu. So I'm going to add a couple of buttons here to my game, and let me just bring that into 2D so we can actually see it. Okay, so my button, oops, again, this is just going to be a super duper simple button here. So interestingly, when you click on text, I would expect it to select the button, but it doesn't. Just me. Okay, so I have my button here, and my text inside here is going to be resume. And I'm going to create another button, which is going to be options. And then another button, which is going to be quit. Okay, so that's the kind of fairly kind of standard type things that you would find in a pause menu. What we might do is we might also have, nope, I don't want to empty one there. We might also want to have this inside a panel. So this would be inside a panel here. Of course, the panel's far too big. So I'm going to make that a lot smaller. So what do we got here? And we'll set that menu there. And then we'll add all these three buttons here to the panel. Okay, and I'll move them so that they're centered as well. So roughly centered in the screen there. Okay, so that is our, should probably pause menu. Okay, let's see if that's in there. So now the pause menu is there, it's available, it's always going to be showing. Oh no, spinning circle of death. Okay, so there is our pause menu at 5x scale. So there it is in all its glory. Now, obviously, we don't want to have the pause menu showing. So what you might want to do is you might want to have canvas not being shown. So let's write a script that does that. So I'm going to create a component here, which is going to be called, actually, let's just create it in here. And I'm going to call this pause menu. Okay, except I've got a space in there, which is probably not a good idea. So I'm going to change that to pause menu, and then I'm going to open it, and I am going to have a private canvas, and I'm going to say void awake canvas equals get component canvas. Oops. Canvas. Okay, and that is going to go and get the canvas component. And then inside my update, I want to, when I hit the escape key, I want it to show the canvas. So I'm going to say if input.get key up, key code escape, escape, where are we? And the canvas is not showing. Get active game object dot get active self. So if it's not active, then I'm going to show it. So I'm going to do canvas equals canvas dot game object dot set active true. Otherwise, if the canvas is showing active self, I'm going to hide it. Set active false. Okay. So now, and I'm going to make my canvas disappear. So my canvas is no longer here. And when I run this and then hit escape, the canvas doesn't show. Now the reason why the canvas doesn't show is because I consistently and without fail in all my videos forget to add the component or set up a property. And this video is no exception. So I'm going to add pause menu, which is a way down here, just to make sure that we're clear. We're adding the pause menu there onto the same object that contains the canvas. So basically on this canvas here. So on the canvas we have our pause menu. And I'm going to click on play, and now when I press the escape button, hee-haw happens. Why you no working? Am I missing something? If key get up escape and it's not active, set it to be active to be true. Okay. Now, what I did was incredibly dumb. Now, let's take this as a learning experience. What I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to update an object that is currently sleeping. So this will not tick because the game object is inactive. So what I want to do is, I actually want to say enabled. And I want to do enabled, and then I want to do enabled equals false. And then for here, I want to say enabled equals true. Okay, now when I go back into here, instead of checking off the entire object, so what I did was I checked off the entire object. This should be active, but the canvas itself, this one down here, that should be inactive. Okay, so running it now. Okay, it's going off and then it's going on. So I'm having a great time in this one video. Okay, so if you do the key up and the canvas is not enabled, then you want to disable the canvas. I don't know why that is doing that actually, because that's on the key up. Okay, so what's happening is I need to add this in here as well, because if this is false for any reason, if this is true for any reason, it's going to execute this, and if this is true for any reason, it's going to execute this. So if canvas is enabled, the next time it comes back into the tick, it's going to disable it. So I don't know, just okay. So now this works exactly the way it should do, but it looks a bit meh. Because the whole point of this video is not really to get the pause menu up. That's a very small part of it. What we want to do is we want to make it look nicer. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, instead of doing this canvas enable, canvas false, all that kind of stuff, I'm going to add another component onto here, which is going to be canvas group. Now the canvas group is a great addition to Unity. So I'm going to keep the canvas enabled. Okay, so my canvas is going to be enabled. Watch what happens though when I alter canvas, when I alter the canvas group down here. So canvas group is set to 1. When I start dragging this to 0, watch what happens inside here. it fades out, and it's really, really nice. It's a nice effect. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to trigger the fade in, fade out. So I'm going to say we need to check the logic here. So the logic is going to be, if we're fading out, we can't be fading in. Okay, so we're going to be, we'll have a private bool is fading, or is fading. So if it's not fading, and that, or it's not fading, and that, I'm going to say start coroutine fade to, and then the fade to is going to be, or sorry, fade from to is going to be fade from, and then it's going to be, so instead of canvas, it's going to be canvas group, and I'm going to change that to group. Oh no, I can't have that. I need to have both of them. I need to have both of them. Private canvas group. I'll just call it group. And group equals get component canvas group. And that gets our canvas group there. And then I want to go from the current, so if this is, I want to go from the current alpha, which should be 0, to 1. So I want to go from the current alpha, so that's going to be group dot alpha to 1. Otherwise, I want to start another coroutine. Well, it's the same coroutine actually, for fade to from to, and it's going to be whatever the current alpha is, comma 0f, because I'm going to fade out. Now the reason why I'm doing fade from the current alpha to there is if I don't, to be honest, it shouldn't matter because of this gatekeeper here. But let's just do the belt and braces version of it. So this should be 0 at this point, and this should be 1 at this point. But we'll be paranoid and do the belt and braces approach. So IEnumerator fade from to, float from, float to. I'm going to call it 2. Yeah, 2 should be fine actually. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an animation curve, and the reason why I'm creating an animation curve is just to make it a little bit easier, so I don't need to worry about if it's greater than this or less than this or whatever. I'm just going to evaluate those values. I'm going to evaluate the curve at a particular time, and it's going to take oh, actually that's a good point. So I can have public float duration equals 1. So I'll make it 1 second just now. Okay, so my animation curve, actually I can do var curve equals new animation curve, and then it needs keyframes, so I'm going to do new keyframe, and then the 2 keyframes I'm going to create are new keyframe, and then this one needs the time and the value. So at 0 time, so when t equals 0, it's going to be from, and then when it's at 1, it's going to be the to time. Okay, so that is my animation curve. Then I have my float time equals 0f, and now I do my time. So I do while time is less than 1f, I do group dot alpha equals, and now all I need to do is call the animation curves evaluate, and I get the value at that particular time. So I do curve dot evaluate time, and then I add time plus delta time, and then I do yield return null. And that's kind of it to do the fade in and fade out. But what I want to do though is I just want to make sure that the last, when we exit this, that the group is at the value that it should be at the end of the animation lerp, the linear interpolation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do group dot alpha equals, and then it's going to be curve dot evaluate 1f. And that's what that says is, and I'll just write this in here, ensure that alpha is set to the t equals 1 value. So that's, I just want to make sure that it's at the last value there. And we can get rid of this up here, we don't need it. And I think we're done. I think we're good to go here. So going back to here, so right now the alpha should be set to 0 because by default the alpha is 0. And also this makes it a lot easier because all you do is when you want to change it, you just come in here, set the alpha to 1, and then you can change it. Change your UI and then put it back up there. So now when I hit escape, nothing happens. Isn't that great? Okay. What we also want to do though is we also want to set this fading here. So I want to say is fading equals true, and then at the very end here I want to say is fading equals false, and then I want to check and see what's wrong with this. So it says is fading, so is fading is false, and that's that there. Fade from to get component canvas group. Okay, that looks okay. Time equals time plus delta time. Group alpha equals that. Okay, that looks all right. So what did I miss? I don't think I missed anything because there's the pause script there. You get any errors? It's just not working. Let's see if this is getting hit at all. I have to say I'm super impressed with this Visual Studio on the Mac. If you have a Mac and you haven't upgraded to 2017 yet, this is worth it. And if you're watching this in 2020, it's probably still worth it. Okay, so I hit escape and it goes into here, and then does this hit? No, this isn't hitting. That's not hitting there, and it's not hitting there. Start coroutine from and to, and just set those breakpoints there and then run. No, it's getting in here. And then the alpha, this, what's alpha? Alpha 0. Am I doing the wrong values? That's possible. Step over, and then alpha. What does alpha contain? Alpha 0. What's the curve? There's two keys. Start at 0 and then end at 0. From 0 to 0. Well, that'll be why. So, oh, because it's the current group alpha. See, this is, I was afraid of this. So that's going to go from 1F to 0, and then that should go from 0F to 1. So why was that fading out? Oh, because that was, okay. So it was fading out before there. Okay, let's clear that. Okay. Well, another partial success. So I think what I need to do is get rid of this here because it is enabled. I think that's the part of the problem. There's that problem there. Because I don't need to check to see if it's enabled because it's always enabled. The other thing is if I'm not fading. Okay, so if I'm not fading and I hit the key, then I'm not doing that. So what I want to do is I want to say, just as a generic one, if I am fading, just don't do anything. So just make this logic a little bit easier, because the easier you make your logic, and many people can argue that, you know, this is ugly, but this is a lot easier than trying to figure out what some kind of crazy logic is in here. So that to me makes it look a lot easier. That says if I'm fading, early out. If there is a fade going on. So if there's a fade going on, let's get out of here. Otherwise, we're going to fade from or to someplace else. All right. Good feeling about this. Big end. So we can get rid of these. Tie them up in a sec. And there's our fade up. And there's our fade up as well. So fade up's not working. Why is that not working? Fade from to, so 0 to 1, 1 to 0. So keyframe's time, isn't it? Time's the first one. Yeah, time's the first one, and then value's the second one. Okay, so I'm going from there to there. And when I'm doing the key up, I'm just evaluating these curves. Okay, these look okay. And I'm going from 0 to 1, and then this is going from 1 to 0. So what I need to do is I need to add another variable here. Bool is showing equals false. So if it's showing, then I'm going to fade out. So what I want to do here, I'm going to set this to be true, and I'm going to set this to be false. And then I'm going to have a boolean here that says showing, and then I'm going to say is showing equals showing. And so in this case, I just want to check and see that if it's not showing, then I'm going to do that there. Now it can only be false, so I think we're good on this. Okay. Oh, sorry, it can only be true or false, so I don't think we need to do the other if. So there's the fade up, there's the fade down. So there you go. So that is canvas group. Super handy.
Hi guys, thank you very much for watching. This is part of the Video a Day in September 2017 videos. If you liked it or you didn't like it, hit the appropriate button below. Subscribe, so if you hit the little icon over there, then you'll get notified, especially when you hit the little alarm icon. That's the really important part apparently. Then you'll get notified when a new video goes up. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.